All right, in this lesson, we are graphing by using a table, and I have chosen 3 different equations to demonstrate to you how the process works. Well, in this first equation, I don't have it in y equals mx plus b, so I can set up my table. So I will start with that first because it's going to be easier for me to set up and complete my table. So I need to get y by itself. So I'm doing those steps right now to get there. I'm going to get 4y equals negative 2x plus 8. And I'm dividing everything by 4. And I'll put my answer right here to the side. Y equals, well, negative 2 over 4 reduces to negative a half. And 8 over 4 is 2. So I will box this equation because that's what I'm going to use to create my table. Now, if you watched the videos before, if I have a fraction, when I'm setting up for my table, I'm better off to be careful about the denominator of the fraction if I want to have some good numbers. Some people prefer to make their tables vertically, some people horizontally. I'm going to demonstrate both methods to you in these 3 examples. So let's just do this vertically. X would be my first column. My second column would be the equation where I have to do the work to get to the answer, negative. And my final answer would be the y value. Now, some people prefer to put another column with the order pairs, but you don't have to be good. So you can see the order pairs from here as soon as you have completed table x, y, and so on. So I don't have any restrictions here on what x's to use. So let's just use some negatives, like negative 4, negative 2. I'll have to extend my table here. 0, and maybe 2. And that's going to be enough. All right, starting the work. If I put negative 4 in for x, I will have y equals negative a half times negative 4 plus 2. A negative times a negative is positive. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And 2 plus 2 is 4. So I got my first output. If x is negative 2, I'm substituting y equals negative a half times negative 2 plus 2. And I'm getting a negative times a negative is positive. 2 over 2 is 1. 1 plus 2 is 3. If x is 0, that's going to be easy because negative a half times 0 would be 0 plus 2, and that's going to give me my 2. Finally, when my x value is 2, I have y equals negative a half times 2 plus 2. And negative times a positive is positive. You multiply fractions across. 2 over 2 is 1. And 1 plus 2 would be giving me, hold on a second, I'm sorry here. Negative times a positive is negative. 2 over 2 is 1. Negative 1 plus 2. So 2 minus 1 would be 1. And I'm going to squeeze it in here. Now, there's something particular about this table. You can clearly see if you observe that there is a pattern between the y's that are going down by 1 just because it shows x's that are going up by 2's. Now, is that always the case? No, that's not always the case. If I could choose in different x values, maybe I would not have a specific pattern. So you need to be careful with that. But what I want you to be careful here is anytime you're dealing with a fraction, choose for your x values multiples of your denominator to have some good y values. That's exactly what I did here. All those in the negative 4, negative 2, 0, 2 are all multiples of the denominator, which is 2. All right, I'm ready to graph this line. So my first order pair would be negative 4, comma 4. Negative 4 is here, 4 is up here. I made my table going by 1s and I went up to 4. Negative 2, 3. Negative 2, 3 would be right here. 0, 2, right here. And 2, comma 1, right here. So you can clearly see those. And of course it should be a straight line, okay? Sorry that I'm trying to put everything together and squeeze it here, but you're getting the idea. So that was my number one. So of course, if you don't have it in y equals, maybe you're better off to do all the work to get to y equals first before you start setting up your table. As I said before, some people put here another column with x comma y. You can, but you don't have to because you can clearly see your x and your y here. You can really make the order pairs here. Let's go to the second one. The second looks kind of weird because I don't have any y's in the equation. It doesn't matter. So let's go ahead and get x by itself. So we're going to add 3 to both sides. And I'm going to get x equals 4, and I will box that. This is what I have to graph. Now, that's very interesting when I go and make my table. So I'm going to make this table actually horizontally. X is on the top, y is on the bottom. And I'm going to use about 4 order pairs. So there we go. Now, I have a restriction here because this is telling me that x has to be always 4. So I have to go and substitute the x pieces there with 4. What is y? I don't know what y is. Y is not in the picture. So y can really be anything that I want it to be, anything. So I'm just going to try to keep it to small values. So let's choose some negatives, -2, -1, 0, and maybe a 2. So there it is, I have my table. I'm moving on to my graph. The first order pair says 4, -2. So I'm going to go 4 right, 2 down. Does anyone know what x equals a number looks like? We'll see now. Second order pair, 4 right, 1 down. Third order pair, 4 right and stay there. Last order pair, 4 and 2 up. If I try to connect those, I'm getting a vertical line. So as we're going to learn, or maybe you know from before, x equals a number should always be a vertical line, which is very confusing for students because they see x equals and they're thinking, oh, the x-axis, right? It should be a horizontal line. No, it doesn't work like that. It works the opposite way because x is always the same value. That's why you're getting a vertical line. Let's go to the last equation, and now you can kind of predict what's going to happen since we did the x equals a number, and now we have y equals a number. Well, we don't have to do any work here because we'll have the equation by itself, variable by itself. So we're ready to set up our table. I'll set this table up vertically. Here's my x, here's my y. And I will put here the x, y, so you can see how sometimes people can do it differently. There we go. Do I have a restriction here? Yes, I do. Now I have a restriction on the y. The y has to always be -2. So I'm going to go in and fill in those boxes with -2. What is x? I don't know. It can be anything because x is not in the picture. So I can put anything that I want. -2, maybe 0, and why not 2? So the order pairs, if I read them, I see I have a -2 and a -2. I have a 0 and a -2, and I have a 2 and a -2. So let's go ahead and graph those 3 on the number line. Remember, graphing a point means dot. Start from the origin. 2 left, 2 down. Origin, nowhere left or right, but down 2. Here we go. Origin, 2 right, and 2 down. There's my horizontal line. So anytime you have y equals a number, you always expect to get a horizontal line. And again, people, this is weird for students to understand or remember because as soon as they see y equals, they're thinking, oh, it's like the y-axis, so it should be vertical. No, it doesn't work like that because your restriction is on the y number, so the y number will always be the same, and that's why you're getting a horizontal line. That is it for now.